The rain had fallen for 3 straight days over the green valleys of Cauldron 4. The swollen rivers roared through the jungle canyons, carrying branches and stones as if the planet itself were angry. On a narrow bridge of fallen vines, a thin human boy balanced carefully, his bare feet gripping the wet fibers as he tried to cross to the other side. His name was Evan Caro, and he was 12. Once, he'd been the son of a surveyor for the Terran Colonial Corps. But a landslide had taken his parents and their shuttle months ago. Now, he lived alone in the wild edges of the Cauldron Basin, surviving on wild fruit, trapped fish, and the occasional stolen ration from supply drones that sometimes fell during storms. The aliens, the Kshari, tall, scaled beings with feathery frills and luminous eyes, had kept their distance. Humans were tolerated here, but not welcomed, not after the mining companies had stripped half a mountain bare. Evan had learned to stay unseen. Until today, as he reached the middle of the bridge, he heard it, a weak cry like wind through a flute. He looked down and froze. Below, near the riverbank, lay a Kshari elder, half submerged in mud and water. One of his 4 legs was twisted unnaturally. The frills around his head drooped. The current tugged at him mercilessly. Evan hesitated. The Kshari despised humans, or so he thought. But the elder's eyes were dimming fast, his long fingers clawing weakly at the shore. Evan dropped his pack, slid down the slope, and plunged into the cold river. The water bit at him, swirling around his chest. He fought the current, grabbing the elder under the arms. The alien was heavier than he looked, muscles and scales dense as stone. But Evan gritted his teeth and pulled. "Hold on, old one," he gasped. "Don't let go." The Kshari made a sound, half a hiss, half a groan, but obeyed. Inch by inch, the boy dragged him toward the shallows. The river tried to claim them both, but Evan dug his heels into the mud and refused to let go. When they finally reached the bank, Evan collapsed, chest heaving. The elder's breathing was shallow, but alive. His leg, bent and swollen, looked broken. Evan didn't know much about alien anatomy, but he knew one thing. The Kshari needed to cross the river to reach the village he'd glimpsed from afar, the one crowned with glowing spires of amber stone. If he left him here, he'd die before anyone found him. So Evan did what his father had once done for wounded soldiers in the frontier wars. He tore strips from his shirt, fashioned a crude splint from driftwood, and bound the elder's leg. The alien watched him silently through slitted eyes. When Evan was done, he pointed toward the opposite bank. "Your tribe's over there, right?" The Kshari blinked slowly. Then, in halting but clear English, he rasped, "Yes, child of soul. I must return. Then I'll get you there," Evan said firmly. The river was too wild for either to cross easily, but the boy had an idea. Upstream, a giant fallen tree stretched nearly all the way across, a natural bridge slick but stable. Evan supported the elder, one arm slung over his narrow shoulders. Every step was agony for both of them. Halfway across, the elder slipped. Evan caught him, but the motion sent his foot into a crevice. The pain lanced up his leg, but he didn't let go. Almost there, Evan grunted, his small body shaking with the effort. By the time they reached the far side, the alien's head had drooped against his shoulder. Evan thought he'd fainted. He laid him down on the grass and checked his pulse, a slow, steady thrum beneath thick scales. From the trees ahead came a sharp cry. Evan froze. Figures emerged from the mist. Half a dozen Kshari warriors, towering and bristling with spines and long spears that shimmered with energy. Their amber eyes fixed on him, cold and bright. "Human," one barked. "Step away from the elder." Evan raised his hands, trembling. I found him in the river. He was hurt. I helped him cross." The leader snarled. "Lies. The waters rise because of your kind's machines. You poison our rivers." Evan took a step back, shaking his head desperately. I didn't. I'll live alone. Please, he was drowning. Before the warriors could advance, a weak voice spoke. Enough. The Kshari elder lifted his head. His golden frills flickered faintly with life. The warriors instantly dropped to one knee. High Sage Vorik, their leader whispered, bowing deeply. Vorik's eyes turned to Evan. This boy carried me from death. His heart is true. The warriors hesitated, glancing at each other. Vorik motioned for them to help him rise. They did, gently supporting his broken leg. Then the elder gestured to Evan. He comes with us. The Kshari village shimmered like something out of a dream. Bioluminescent moss glowed in spiraling patterns on the stone huts. Translucent banners rippled in the mist. As Evan entered, hundreds of eyes turned toward him, some hostile, some merely curious. No human had walked these paths in years. Vorik was carried to a crystal chamber lined with healing waters. Evan lingered near the doorway, unsure if he should stay. A healer, a tall female Kshari with silver eyes, approached him. You saved the sage. Why? Evan swallowed. Because he needed help. My father said if you see someone dying, you don't walk away. Doesn't matter who they are. The healer tilted her head, studying him. Even an enemy? Evan nodded. Especially then. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled, a strange but gentle motion, her frills rippling with soft light. You have a warrior's soul, little one. Hours passed. The storm cleared. The Kshari council gathered outside the healing chamber. Vorik emerged on a walking staff, supported but alive. When he spoke, his voice carried over the whole village. Among the stars, we are told that humans are destroyers, greedy, reckless, cruel. Yet this child of soul risked his life for mine, without hope of reward. He raised a scaled hand toward Evan, who stood trembling before the crowd. He is proof that honor and compassion can bloom even from ruin. The gathered aliens murmured, tails flicking in astonishment. Vorik continued, henceforth, Evan Caro is to be named kin of Kshari, under the protection of my house. A soft chime of approval rippled through the air. A sound Evan would later learn was their form of applause. He blinked, unable to speak. The healer approached and draped a small pendant over his neck, a shard of glowing amber shaped like a river stone. This marks you as one of us, she said. Evan's throat tightened. For the first time since his parents died, he felt something warm settle in his chest, belonging. In the days that followed, the Kshari helped rebuild the human boy's small camp near the forest edge. They taught him their language, their songs, and the quiet art of shaping bioluminescent resin. In return, Evan showed them how to purify water with simple solar stills and how to reinforce riverbanks against flooding. The hostility between the humans of the nearby settlement and the Kshari softened bit by bit. Vorik's story spread far and wide, of the orphan boy who saved a dying elder, and the tribe who chose mercy over pride. One evening, as the sun set in molten hues, Evan sat beside the elder near the same river they'd crossed together. The water now ran calmer, reflecting the twin moons above. You changed us, child, Vorik said quietly. Evan shook his head. You changed me first. The elder's frills shimmered with soft amusement. Perhaps both are true. They sat in silence, listening to the gentle murmur of the current that had once nearly claimed them both. For the first time in years, Evan didn't feel like a lost boy on a strange world. He felt like part of something vast, alive, and kind. The stars reflected on the river's surface, and for a fleeting moment, it looked as if the heavens themselves bowed to the boy who'd chosen compassion over fear. And somewhere in the rippling glow of alien light, The story of Evan Caro, the orphan who bridged two worlds, began to echo among the stars.